Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, with the arrival of Title Update 1 comes a few new armor sets, some new weapons, and some new monsters to slay too. And of course, with that, we have some adjustments to our best builds for each weapon in Monster Hunter Wilds, and today is all about the bug stick, the spear that goes bzzz, the insect glaive. This weapon is incredibly powerful in Wilds, and super fun and flashy with the focus on descending slash and rising spiral slash, and just launching off that attack as often as physically possible because of its insane amount of damage, and the output of the weapon has only gotten higher with Title Update 1. Starting off then with the weapons we'll be using themselves, it's worth mentioning that Shia Insect Glaive not only exists, but is actually pretty good. The stats are comparable to an Artian weapon aside from the fact that it trades some decoration slots for the whiteflame torrent skill. Whiteflame torrent is better with Insect Glaive than many weapons. It will give you flat damage pops every few seconds as you're attacking the monster, but if you use the main playstyle, the one that I want to recommend that you use, which is focusing on descending slash and rising spiral slash, you won't be proccing Whiteflame torrent a massive amount, as those attacks do not work with Whiteflame Torrent as a skill specifically. But obviously we still constantly use other attacks like the triangle combo while lining this up, and in reality it's about a 5% drop in damage or less to use the Shia weapon on an Insect Glaive over a perfectly rolled Artian weapon. So if you want to use it, you won't really lose that much. But since we are focusing on damage about pretty much anything else in today's build, I will be showing and using Artian weapons while I'm talking about it. With that then, how should you build your Artian Insect Glaives? Well, you want 3 attack parts as the base. You can overcap on affinity, but you can't really do the same with the raw attack, so it's better to get this on your weapon when you have a choice. As well, you want it to have either an element or status on it. Pure efficiency and optimization would be to make 5 different insect glaives, 1 for each element, and then bring the one that matches the weakness of the monster that you are going to fight every time you go for a hunt. If you want a bit less maintenance than that, a little bit less brain power, you can just use dragon element mostly, as it's sort of a catch-all that most of the toughest monsters in Wilds are actually weak to. And statuses are also perfectly viable if you prefer them, especially Blast and Paralysis, of course, but Element pulls just slightly ahead for pure damage, especially for Insect Glaive, and especially with some of the bonus skills in our new best set. For reinforcements on an Artian weapon, your ideal rolls would be 4 attack and 1 sharpness boost. This one has 2 element instead of 2 attack. You won't necessarily always get it perfect, but your goal is 4 attack, as that combined with a sharpness management skill in one of our weapon slots makes the weapon able to keep a very comfortable uptime on white sharpness. 2 sharpness boost and 3 attack rolls is also entirely workable, and you just swap out the sharpness decoration for more crit boost instead, but this is a much less comfortable way of handling sharpness on the weapon than getting 1 sharpness roll and using the skill. Moving on then, let's talk about our armor set for this too, which is going to be a lovely mix of Gore Magala 2 set, which is incredible for offense, and Shia 2 set, which is honestly just a pure bonus from using otherwise good armor pieces here. We have Shia beta helmet, arkveld beta chest, Gore Magala beta gloves, Gore Magala Alpha waist, and then Shia Alpha legs. The Gore Magala 2 set gives us Frenzy whenever we encounter a large monster. When you cleanse Frenzy, you get bonus affinity afterwards. And we also get even more bonus affinity after the fact because of Antivirus as a skill, which we are going to be getting full ranks of as well. The Shia 2 set bonus is Super Recovery, which means that you get a just very slow, consistent ticking health regeneration, even past red health after being hit. It is really quite slow of a heal with the 2 set bonus, so this is mostly just minor comfort. It won't make too much of a difference. We then use the Exploiter Charm for 2 ranks of Weakness Exploit, as it's an extremely efficient skill for getting affinity, and then the Corrupted Mantle is still pretty up there, honestly. You can definitely get away with Evasion or Rocksteady with Insect Glaive. You would get some offensive benefit from them, but for pure raw damage output, it's still at the top of the pile to use Corrupted Mantle with Insect Glaive, at least with the way that our combos tend to work. After that, let's talk about our decorations. In our weapon, we have Flight/Handicraft, the main skill from that being just straight up airborne, and this gives you a 10% damage boost to jump attacks. This includes Rising Spiral Slash, which is our strongest attack with Insect Glaive, so this is just 10% bonus damage to our strongest attack, which is of course really good. Then you can take a bonus skill on it with a 3-slot decoration, so I've grabbed Handicraft. Then in the other slots we've got Critical Boost 3 as our next decoration, very straightforward, and then in the final slot I have Mastery for the Master's Touch skill. This gives you 80% chance to ignore sharpness loss when you get a critical hit, and we have super high crit chance, so this is very, very potent for ignoring the actual sharpness loss. As for the armor decorations then, we've got 1 chain jewel for 1 rank of burst, as the first rank of burst is the most effective by a good margin. This gives us 5 bonus raw on every attack after the first that hits a monster, and then even more bonus raw after 5 consecutive hits. And this also gives us bonus element as well, which is of course useful if you're using an element weapon. Then we have 3 mighty jewels for 3 maximum might. This gives us 30% affinity when our stamina is full, and thanks to updates to this in Title Update 1, maximum might will stay active even if you spend a little bit of stamina, as long as it goes back up to full within a 2-second window of timing. We've then got 2 sane jewels to help finish off antivirus up to level 3, which is 10% bonus affinity after cleansing frenzy. We have 2 tenderizer jewels as well to get weakness exploit to maximum ranks, which is 30% affinity against weak monster parts, which is orange numbers for the most part, and 20% bonus affinity against wounds. Then we have 1 counterstrike decoration to finish off the counterstrike skill up to level 3, and this gives us 25 bonus raw attack for 45 seconds after getting hit by a dangerous enough attack from a monster to knock us off our feet. But this can also be triggered with hyper armor attacks, and this actually includes our offsets too with Insect Glaive if the monster's hit actually connects with you after the offset effect triggers. Counterstrike is super high value in general. Most players will just be hit often enough to trigger the effect and keep it active the majority of the time. But Insect Glaive, being one of the weapons that can trigger Counterstrike without actually needing to be hit, makes it even more reliable and of course even better overall. Then we have 1 earplugs decoration in our last 2 slot for 1 rank of the earplug skill. This is because when you have all 3 extracts, you gain a buff to your character that includes the equivalent of 1 level of earplugs. So if we put 1 rank in the armor set, we count as having level 2 earplugs whenever you have all 3 of your extracts. And this makes you immune to every monster roar in the game except for gore magala, Gravios, dahaad, and Shia. Every other fight in Wilds, this makes you immune to roar flinches. For those 4, you can either flip another slot into 1 more earplug rank, or just swap to Shia beta legs instead of alpha and run without earplugs at all and gain an agitator. That's your choice, but for the majority of the monster roster, having this 1 earplug decoration is actually pretty awesome. Then we have 1 remaining little 1 slot here that you can use for whatever you prefer. The self-improvement skill is the only remaining way to get offense from a 1 slot. You can go with shockproof to remove friendly flinches in group hunts, or use some sort of defense or utility skill of your choosing. Our full skill list then is 3 crit boost, 1 handicraft, master's touch, airborne, 5 weakness exploit, 3 constitution, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 3 antivirus, 2 recovery speed, 1 agitator for a little bit of bonus attack and affinity when a monster is enraged, that first very valuable rank of burst, 1 rank of evade window, 1 level of recovery up, elemental absorption, which gives you bonus element damage and element resistance after being hit by an elemental attack, and this just sort of comes as a bonus on the pants from the set, but it makes it even better to sneak an element onto your Artian weapon too, because it will be boosted by this. Then that single rank of earplugs and our double 2-set bonus. Past that, it's time for the math of it all. For a perfectly rolled Artian Insect Glaive, we assume 225 attack and 5% affinity as a base, with white sharpness. We add 6 attack for level 1 burst, and with Insect Glaive having a heavy focus on working around descending slash, we will count this as full uptime on the first hit bonus for +5, but then 33% uptime on the full 5 hit bonus, which would be 8 raw total, so we're counting level 1 burst as 6 bonus raw overall to sort of average that out. We then have level 1 agitator, and this is 4 attack and 3 affinity when the monster is enraged, and as of Title Update 1, we are now counting agitator as 70% uptime in Wilds, so we take agitator bonuses as being 70% of their value. In this case being 2.8 bonus raw attack. It's small, yeah, but it all adds up, trust me. Then we have our +25 from Counterstrike, which you can definitely have 100% uptime with, especially on Insect Glaive, so we'll be counting that at full value. And this puts us at 258.8 attack. Now we need to factor in our affinity bonuses, our actual benefits from crits. 5% base on the weapon, weakness exploit 5 is 30% consistent affinity, which we will count as being constant, as you should always be hitting weak monster parts, and then there is 20% bonus affinity when hitting wounds, which we won't be counting for the math here for effective raw, but be aware that it exists. We've also got 30% affinity from maximum might, and then for antivirus we are now counting gore set bonus frenzy as being being cleansed 80% of the time in combat, so 25% affinity with 80% uptime, which is the equivalent of 20% affinity. This puts us at 85% pretty consistent affinity. Agitator level 1 is 3% affinity while active, and we're counting Agitator at 70% uptime, so that's 2.1% affinity on average through the hunt, for a total of 87.1% affinity. We gain up to 10% bonus affinity when Corrupted Mantle is active, so at parts of the time we do hit 100% or even over cap, but this keeps us consistently over the course of the hunt at very high affinity. We have 3 crit boost in the setup as well, which means the critical damage modifier is boosted from 25% to 34%, and an 87.1% chance at a 34% damage boost means that we get a 29.6% damage boost on average through the course of the entire hunt from crits. 258.8 times 1.296 is 335.4. We then increase that by another 32% for the white sharpness modifier for a total effective raw with this set of 442.78, and that doesn't account for things like earplugs being worked in as well, and making you immune to most roars in the game when you have your extracts as well, which is just extremely useful. As far as how to play with this generally, it's pretty just standard insect glaive stuff for wilds. You want to generate your extracts as quickly as possible to have all 3 of them, if you don't have them of course, then play around Descending Slash and your primary attack combo while holding down the attack charging button, letting go of Descending Slash whenever an opportunity arises to use Rising Spiral Slash as the follow-up. After Rising Spiral Slash, which spends all of your extracts, you want to get your extracts back again as quickly as you can, and if the monster has any wounds that you can pop with your Focus Strike, that's the best way of doing it. Otherwise, avoid vaulting unless necessary to dodge an attack, and avoid doing multiple rolls in a row unless necessary as well, as those are the only things that will really drop maximum might with Insect Glaive in this setup. That pretty much does it for today then everyone, our new and improved maximum offense Insect Glaive build for Title Update 1 in Monster Hunter Wilds. I should mention, just for the sake of it, as I do with every build that we do, this is meant to be an extremely optimized damage set for the average player, which means we're not making these for speedrunners or speedrunning stats. We're not using like ambush, there's no expectations of high corrupted mantle uptime, no working around Jin dahaad 4-set bonus, or working around heroics, or playing low health, nothing like that. Just the highest amount of optimization an average player will want to reach for their general hunts. And I hope you all enjoy using this too if you give it a go for yourself. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.